What is up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the F2 Career Mode playthrough. If you haven't seen the start of the series, I recommend you go check out the previous episode. Uploaded it a few days ago. I'll leave a link to it anyway if you haven't seen it. But yeah, we're doing a season of Formula 2 in Jack Aitken's Campos racing car. We currently sit in P2, I believe, in the driver's standings. We had a bit of a slow start on the feature race. We bounced back quite well in the sprint. But here we are for the second episode at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in Baku.
The drivers have started to settle in over the course of practice, but today it's time to put that learning to the test. Welcome to qualifying here in Azerbaijan.
Alright, so here we are for what is a pretty brutal circuit. And we're certainly going to put these cars to the test around this place. So it'll be very interesting to see what the form guide is like here in F1. I feel like this is a bit of a tough circuit to contest with the AI. So we might have a difficult time of things. But hopefully we can qualify somewhere near the front. You can see at the moment on our one-shot qualifying lap, we're not doing too great at the moment. P11, we're starting to claw back a bit of ground in this middle sector. But the way that we've set up the car is for low downforce, for as little drag as we can get away with. So I'm hoping we can make up a bit of time in the third sector. I think we're running with like 4 or 5 wings, something like that, maybe even less than that. Anyway, we're running through to the last corner, and this is actually a proper corner in these cars. Same too with that little kink as you exit out of the castle section. It's very interesting to run around in F2 cars. There's a lot of corners that you really underestimate an F1 car. You can't do the same here. We come across the line, and it is P9 for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Not bad.
Welcome back to Baku. We're on the edge of the Caspian Sea in a bustling, vibrant capital, which for only the third time plays host to Formula 2. Joining me for the race today, I'm delighted to welcome back to the commentary box the 2012 GP2 champion, Davide Valsecchi. Davide, it's great to have you with us for today's race. Any tips for our drivers out on the track today?
It's a real pleasure to be here, Alex. We are in for a spectacular day in Formula 2. My advice is to stay calm, look after the car, look after the tires, but don't be afraid to push when you see an opportunity. Using the DRS on some of those long straights will be crucial for the driver looking to make a challenge.
Okay, the run into turn 1 isn't too long, so the pack will be bunched up. Take care.
You can see off to your right, Mr. Benjamin Daly is not having a good time of things after losing the title to Lewis Hamilton in Formula 1 last season. But welcome, guys, to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We're starting from P9, and hopefully we can make some inroads towards the top 5. Away we go for round 2 of this Formula 2 championship. And looks like an okay start. We're trying to jostle for position as we run into turn 1. We've got Joe up our inside. I've actually managed to pronounce his name correctly, or at least I hope I have. May need further tweaking. We'll rely upon the comment section of this video. But we've lost a position to Joe there, and we're now running in P10. So ideally, we want to be inside the top 8 so we can nab a good starting position for the sprint race. But if last round is anything to go by, you want to do as well as you possibly can in this feature race. There's more points on offer, and yeah, we just want to be consistent above anything else. Sete Camera was very strong in the first round. He's 9 points ahead of us in the driver's standing, so I'll hopefully get close to him if I can. We've got Hubert up next. Hopefully nab a bit of his slipstream, and we'll get amongst it if we can. So, yeah, looking at the straight line comparison, it looks like slipstream isn't as effective in the Formula 2 cars. You kind of have to work a bit harder to overtake cars, which is quite satisfying in a lot of ways. We go around the outside of Hubert there. We've actually locked up the inside front tyre and not really hit the apex all too well, and Antoine gets in front of us once again. So, this could be a long, drawn-out battle. I find that it is definitely harder to overtake in Formula 2. I'm not as naturally pacey in these cars. I don't know if I've got the right setups going either, but it's a challenge that I'm really looking forward to nonetheless, as we go around the outside of Antoine there. And now we are into P8, the crucial top 8 positions. We do not want to be in P9 or P10, that's for sure. If we kind of bottle the third to last corner. Antoine goes up the inside into this left-hander. Now this is not a corner you want to be compromised into, because it's going to cost you all the way down this long straight. Thankfully, we actually managed to get away quite nicely out of the final corner, and that puts Hubert under pressure from Joe here on the run into turn 1. Nothing really happened between the two of those guys. But meanwhile, we can see Mick Schumacher fighting away with Jordan King. Hopefully they can continue to battle away, and that'll invite me into the party. The more that they run side by side, the closer we can get. King fighting back here in the middle sector, giving Schumacher a bit of a squeeze, and I think Schumacher will hold on to that position in the end there. So lap 4, I think we'll be stopping on lap 6 or something like that. Rear tyres go off quite quickly here in Azerbaijan, and with our super soft tyres on, I don't imagine that they will be faring too well after this lap potentially. But we're in the slipstream now. We're finally going to have some DRS, so we'll see if this is any more potent. King's got DRS off of Schumacher. But we go around the outside of King here, and we get the job done just about around the outside there. So, yeah, pretty lucky to get that position in the end there. We're now trying to set our sights after Mick Schumacher as we get a bit of a moment there in the middle sector, exiting the castle section. And unfortunately, that was a big turning point in the race, to be honest, because now we've kind of lost slipstream to Mick Schumacher. We're right on the border of being within 1 second of DRS, and unfortunately Mick broke the DRS, and now Jordan King is coming back at us here on the 6th lap. So we're having to go defensive into the middle sector. We fight off that challenge and we hold on to P7. Callum Ilott is out of the Grand Prix, so we'll have a look at what happened to him. It looks like it is terminal. So he'll be out of this race. No real crashes to really speak of in Formula 2. These guys have all been keeping it relatively clean so far in the opening 3 races we've had so far in this championship. We're into the pit lane now. We make up a lot of time on Schumacher on the run into the pits, and we're fitting on the medium tyres to run to the end of this race. Much slower pit stops in F2. I think they're like 5 seconds. We get held in the pit lane again for people in the fast lane, meaning we lose like 1.4 seconds, something like that. Here's the replay. It was one of the Arden cars just in the fast lane, right in the position where we were trying to exit, and so that's really unfortunate. We lose a lot of time to Schumacher there, so it will be tough to claw back that ground. But yeah, I think going forward into the next feature race in Catalonia, I feel like we're going to have to do a massive undercut, like stop when no one else is in the pit lane, or do a big overcut. Because every time, just the unfortunate positioning of us in the pit lane means that if there's any other cars behind us who come in, we just get held up by them. So we need to minimize that as much as we can going forward. But here we are on lap 10. We're in P8, so we have lost a bit of ground, I think, to the cars ahead. And in this second stint of the race, I don't have the same team radio. We'll come back to that.
Our gap to the car in front is 2.4 seconds. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 3 laps old. They seem to have an issue. The time last lap was a 1 minute 58.6. You're closing in by 3 seconds a lap.
I was just about to say we don't have the same confidence and the same natural pace that we did in the first stint. But we've got Sete Camera, who is our championship leader with a car issue at this stage. It's costing him 3 seconds per lap around this Baku city circuit, and we're catching him in at an awkward time because this isn't really an overtaking zone of the circuit. We might be able to go up the inside into this next right-hander if we get a nice exit, but Sete Camera seems to be exiting. It's got good drive traction out of the slow speed corners. He's a bit slow here, but he cuts us off there, and we're just sitting in behind him frustratingly, unable to get past him. So I'm not really sure. I don't know exactly where he's struggling for pace. If I had to guess, I would say it's braking. We get another terrible exit, and unfortunately we're not in a position to overtake him into this downhill left-hander. He's going a bit defensive into this penultimate corner. He brakes really early there, and we're able to go around the outside and into P7. So that issue with Sete Camera, as well as our pace issues, has meant that I don't think we're any chance of getting Mick Schumacher, who was just a few seconds up the road. Meanwhile, this is Sete Camera fighting away with Joe and also Jordan King, I think. 3 wide through the opening couple of corners. And that put an end to, well, I thought it put an end to their chances of getting me, but it looks like Joe is catching back up to us again on the last lap. But meanwhile, Nick de Vries wins the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in the feature race. And yeah, he'll be getting himself well up there in the driver's standings. We come across the line, we get P7, which puts us on the front row for tomorrow.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
Brilliant stuff from ART today. What a superb victory. ART, the French team who have been racing since the 90s in various forms of motorsport, are once again back on the winner's podium today after a brilliant display of driving skill.
Hang on a second, Mick Schumacher got 3rd in this race? Are you joking? He was, what, P7 right in front of me before the pit stops? He must have absolutely come alive in the second stint of the race. He's gained 4 positions in the final 7 laps or something like that. That is unbelievable from Mick Schumacher. Great drive to get a podium. Nick de Vries wins the Grand Prix. Louis Delatraz P2. What is this going to mean for the championship, though? We come across, and Nick de Vries has stormed into the lead of the driver's standings. Sete Camera, bad race from him, drops to P3. Louis Delatraz benefits out of that too. Jack drops to P4. And Campos also not having a good time of things. ART jumping us in the feature race. So we're going to move on to the sprint race now. We're starting on the front row. Let's hopefully claw back some points.
And we're back. After yesterday's feature race, the top 8 drivers have been reversed on the grid, setting up some exciting action as we launch into today's event, the sprint race.
You should have some space going into the first corner, so try to keep it tidy.
Thank you, Jeff. We've got Scott here engineering our car, so I believe that Scott will engineer us to brilliance in today's Grand Prix. 3-4 wings, so much lower than I anticipated we had. 5 red lights, and away we go for the sprint race here around the Baku city circuit here in Azerbaijan. Running into turn 1, we're going to stick it up the inside of Zhao there, and we will take the lead of the Grand Prix. So that was an interesting move. I was just sticking the nose in there, just trying to disrupt his run through the first corner, and he actually backed out of it there. So we're quite lucky in the end there to be gifted the lead of the Grand Prix. We're going to make sure that we can make the most of this. We'll try and break the slipstream if we can. But moving on into this race, we're on the super soft tyres. The tyre which we were quite strong with in the feature race. But moving from the mediums, which we were just on a couple of minutes ago, to now this tyre, the car it feels like a completely different car. It's come alive, and I have so much more confidence on this compounded tyre. So hopefully we'll be able to hold on and win this race. If anything, hopefully, set a fastest lap, try and pull away from the pack. But, we've got Hubert, we've got Zhao behind us. Those guys will be very, very quick in this Grand Prix. We set a 53.3. Nick de Vries then tops that. So does Matsushita a couple of seconds back. They're all slipstreaming me, and I can't seem to get away in this Azerbaijan Grand Prix. I'm really pushing the limits here, right up against the wall. In fact, I actually touched it with my left rear tyre. But we seem to be holding strong. We're not overly quick in the middle sector, but we have enough straight line speed to keep these guys at bay, and that's basically the strategy that is carrying me towards this victory here in the sprint race. Really nothing to say. I wasn't really challenged from behind the entirety of this race. I was just doing enough to keep them at arm's reach, and we have held on for the sprint race. It is another victory in this Formula 2 championship.
Fantastic. You've won the Grand Prix.
So another fantastic victory for Campos today. It's time to present the top drivers with their trophies for today's race, and there are a lot of people in the paddock very happy with this result. It's Campos on the top step.
So there we go. That race literally went by in a flash. It is a sprint race after all, but yeah, we did enough to keep everyone at bay. Interestingly, we've got 3 Renault Academy drivers filling out the podium with Hubert also in P3. So that is really, really cool to see, to share a podium with him. It's really awesome. But we are on the top step as Jack Aiken. What is this going to mean for the championship, though? We will move across to that screen in just a second. It's been a good round for us. Well, it's been, I don't know, it's up and down, not exactly consistent, not really getting the points in the feature race like we need to, but crucially, we win the sprint race and gets us back in the championship fight a little bit more. We're definitely closer than what we were last round. We're now 2 points away from Nick de Vries, who is now our new championship leader. Sete Camera dropping to P6, I think, P7. So a catastrophic Azerbaijan round in the championship for him. Will he fight back in the next episode in Catalunya? We'll just have to wait and see. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like on this series if you are enjoying it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more racing game content. I can tell you exclusively, I've already gone ahead and recorded the next round in Spain, and it is absolutely fantastic. So I hope you guys can join me for then. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next race, the Spanish Grand Prix. I'll see you next time.
So this is how we end up. Shades of blue and gray. I feel just like an empty bottle. My dreams are on delay. I just wanna climb on top of a hill and throw it all away, away. Take me far away before my mind spins off and I am all derailed, derailed. Just